guys, welcome back to Shelf Life Extension. I'm Alexis, and today I'm actually going to be doing a Top 5 Wednesday for you. So I used to do Top 5 Wednesdays like all the time last year, back in the day, but I haven't been doing them really, obviously, because I haven't been that active on my channel. But I figured today is Wednesday, I want to film a video, why not try and do Top 5 Wednesdays, since I kind of want to jump back into that. If you don't know already, Top 5 Wednesday is a group created by Ginger Reads Lainey here on YouTube. I will link the group down below, and pretty much every Wednesday we talk about our top 5 things in a certain subject, which we all decide and suggest as far as what they should be. So today's topic is top 5 books that involve time travel. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't necessarily read a lot of books that are not Susanna Kearsley that involve time travel, so I'm actually gonna kind of cheat a little bit and switch it around as far as the topic. Instead of being just strictly time travel, I'm gonna talk about just travel in itself, mainly going from one point or place to another point or place, whether it be time or space, by means of some sort of magical thing. Right? That's kind of what I'm going for, rather than just strictly time travel. So mainly time travel and parallel universes and switching between them and kind of stuff like that. So I figured I would actually talk about the 2 books on my list that actually do involve time travel, although one is time travel as well as parallel universe, and that is GreyWalker by Kat Richardson. This is a series that I have been steadily going through ever since the beginning of last year. It's about this woman named Harper Blaine, who is a private investigator located in Seattle, who has the ability to manipulate the gray areas in the world, which pretty much means she can manipulate time and space. She goes into that supernatural part of the world that surrounds all of us, which involves all sorts of supernatural things like vampires, zombies. She can see and manipulate them, but with that she can also go through different layers of the gray, which can actually extend back to the past. So there's that. I really enjoy this series. This is the first book. I think I am about at the 4th book. I haven't gotten it yet, but it is something that I do plan eventually to continue with. But as you can see by this pile here, I've got a lot of books that I have to read. So, when that's gonna happen, I'm not exactly sure, but if you haven't checked out the series, I highly recommend you do. Second is gonna be my Susanna Kearsley pick, okay? You all know, I'm sorry, I know, but this book in particular is not only my favorite out of all of her books so far, but the one that legitimately includes time travel, because a lot of her stories involve a current, present day story along with a past, some sort of historical story, which could either be happening side by side, or it could be through flashbacks, or, you know, just whatever is going on kind of thing, and then eventually the 2 stories kind of meet up. But this one specifically does involve a character in present time going back to the past and living through it. So it follows this woman named Ward who goes back to one of her childhood homes on the Cornish coast in England, and by going back to this house, she time travels. It's kind of hit or miss as far as how long she can stay there, or where she kind of ends up, and then how much time has passed. But by doing that, she learns about the people who used to live in the home of her childhood and gets to know them and kind of the history of this place that she so dearly loves. And I absolutely love this book. Again, Susanna Kearsley, And then next, I'm gonna mention The DeVouring by Simon Holt. This is a book that I have mentioned a few times, but I'm gonna continuously and forever mention this book and series. It is a trilogy because I absolutely love it. I think it's such an interesting concept, and I feel like it deserves a lot more love than it has ever received. It's about these beings called Devourers, which are kind of like changelings. They come and inhabit the bodies and minds of children, and by doing so, the actual consciousness of that child gets put into what is known as a fearscape, which means they are left to live out their most horrible nightmares and fears forever, so long as that Devourer is in possession of their body and mind. So it follows a girl named Reggie whose younger brother gets taken by a Devourer, and how she has to go into his fearscape to try and bring him back out and defeat the Devourer that is in possession of him. It's really cool. I think it's such an interesting concept. It's got kind of like that horror fantasy thing going on, and I definitely recommend this book if you have not checked it out and if it sounds interesting for you. And And then next I'm gonna mention Splintered by A.G. Howard, simply because it's Alice in Wonderland. It's an Alice in Wonderland retelling. I think it's a really interesting version. I've only read the first one. I do have the second book, but the fourth book in the series just came out a few weeks ago. So if you're not up to speed, it's gonna be a relatively long series. I'm not sure if that's the last book or what, but yeah, so it starts off with Splintered, and it's about this girl named Alyssa Gardner who can suddenly start hearing the voices and thoughts of plants and bugs, and she thinks she's going insane because it's kind of been the same thing that her mother and grandmother and every woman in her family has gone through, in which case her mother is in a mental institution for said voices and, you know, hallucinations. But she finds out that in fact they are not insane, that it is really happening, and it all boils back down to the fact that her like great grandmother was the actual Alice, so she has to go to Wonderland to try and figure out what's going on and make it stop, and it's actually really fun. I did really enjoy this one. I think to go on to the second book I'd probably have to reread this again, but I thought overall it was pretty fun. So if that's something that you think you might be interested in, I would say go for it. And I mean, look at this cover. I actually really like this. I like that cover. And then lastly, my number 5 pick is Child of a Hidden Sea by A.M. Dellamonica. Now this book I recently read. I brought this with me on my way to the Philippines, and I read it on the flight over to Korea. I specifically bought this book because when I looked at this jacket to see what it was about, it reminded me a lot of the book that I want to write and what I have already written as far as my book, and I was like, holy shit, like that's not very awesome. So I wanted to get it and read it and kind of see what was going on and kind of rethink what I was already doing. So that, but it's about this girl named Sophie Hansa from San Francisco. One day she sees this woman in the street getting like mugged by these guys, and she decides to be the hero and kind of intervene, and by doing so they transport to this unknown place. And the first half of the book is just her trying to figure out where the heck they are, who the woman is that she ended up saving, and kind of how it all fits in and how she's part of this kind of crazy conspiracy and war between nations and worlds and stuff. It actually gets pretty cool. I do plan on getting the second book because the second book is out, but it won't be for a while because obviously they're only in hardcover, so I don't feel like doling out $30 for the book. But I thought that it was actually a pretty good start to a series, and I'm interested to see what happens next. Although I will say there were some weird parts, and I felt like there were some open plots that didn't get resolved, but of course I assume things will happen in the second book and the rest of the series. So there's that. Those are all 5 of my picks. Of course, only 2 actually being dealt with time travel as far as past and present, but I think that the other choices I picked kind of fit in, and I, you know, highly suggest all of them. If you have any questions or comments or anything, obviously please go ahead, feel free to comment down below. And I just thank you guys for watching. I really enjoyed making this video, and I hope to be back into the groove of things starting now. But otherwise, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll check you guys out later. Bye!